My name is Phathiswa Magopeni, and I'm an SABC News journalist, and I stand by my story. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Actually, I want to narrow it down to financing independent public service journalism, and that's what I want to talk to. The question that I want to ask, or the two questions that I want to ask, for whose benefit does independent public service journalism exist? And whose interest does an independent public news service, in this case SABC News, should serve? And as we talk about financing of public service journalism, I want us to consider where we locate our discussion. Are we talking about the sustainability or profitability of both? Or is it even desirable to talk about profitability when we talk about news media? And as we consider our perspectives on financing independent public service journalism, it is worth noting the following. We are talking about putting the citizens at the center of the journalistic endeavor and locating our journalism firmly in the lives of the citizenry. And that means financing this brand of journalism should be geared at delivering universal access to high-quality news and information, creating platforms for public dialogue, and providing opportunities for citizen-driven conversations. And robust citizen engagement on issues of public and national concern is critical to the development of our society and strengthening our democracy. The task of a public news service is to create opportunities for citizens to talk about and have conversations about their lives, the spaces they occupy, their aspirations and dreams. Our task is to reflect the nation to the world to the nation, and the nation to itself, and do so without any hindrance. As journalists in public service, we constantly ask ourselves, what society do we envisage as a result of the quality and texture of journalism we deliver to the citizens? And delivering high quality, compelling and independent broadcast journalism in particular is knowledge and resource intense. So whose duty is it to foot the bill? SABC News is a primary source of news and information for millions of South Africans. We provide news services to 19 radio stations in 13 languages, including Kuntali and Kwedam, 3 free-to-air television channels, a dedicated news channel, and digital platforms. Our coverage has to reflect that we are not out of touch with the reality of the millions that we serve, who occupy different geographical, cultural, religious, socio-economic, and linguistic spaces. We are morally and ethically obliged to provide content that assists citizens to make informed decisions in their daily lives, be it subsistence or emerging commercial farmers who have to respond to changing climate patterns, the domestic worker who has to decide how much money to save to afford school uniforms for her children when the school term starts in January, or the investor who wants to track markets and decide which stocks present better investment opportunities. And in this regard, costly as it is, the public interest obligation calls upon us to provide independent journalism that is free of interference and censorship as a public good. We are further obliged to provide untrammeled news and current affairs content that reflects views that mirror diversity of voices in our country. Doing so ensures that citizens are appropriately well informed to participate fully in developing and enhancing our democracy. So, taking all this into account, can we as a country and citizens afford to have the public interest obligation eroded by financial constraints? To what extent are we concerned, if we really are, about the negative impact of not providing news content that serves the needs of the public and nothing else? Is there commitment and will to fund public interest content? Is the funding model, as well as policy and regulatory environment, enabling the SABC to honor what is effectively a constitutionally derived social compact between the public broadcaster and the citizens? Broadcast journalism is costly from the perspective of both editorial quality and technical resourcing. Therefore, how committed are we as a country to financing high-quality programming and compelling independent journalism? If there is no commitment to fund independent journalism as a public good, what is the cost to our democracy? What is the cost to social cohesion? What is the cost to human development and socio-economic transformation in the country? If we don't provide universal access to high-quality independent journalism and general content, what is the cost to the millions of South Africans who rely on the public broadcaster for news, information, entertainment, and education? What is the cost of not funding the coverage of the voices in the periphery of society to our democracy? Whose duty is it to fund independent public service journalism? We should all be concerned about the future of independent journalism and how it is financed. So how do we finance it?